What's happening, everybody? This is Evan Turner. Welcome back to the channel. It's 12:30. I'm on my way to work right now, but that does not mean my day just got started. I've actually got started at 8 a.m. this morning with some private lessons with some students in India that I train with on Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 a.m. my time, which is I think 8 o'clock or 6:30 their time. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that one. Then I went and got a great workout in, showered lunch. Now on to the school to get some work in. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about some of the tips or the top 5 things that I've learned now for the past 2 years running my own business. For those who don't know my background, I moved to New Jersey from Texas about 2 years ago to buy an existing business or a martial arts school and take it over. Prior to that, I was working in Texas for one of the top martial arts companies in the world, overseeing about 5 schools at the time, working in one and overseeing the others. And I learned a lot, but I wasn't the owner, and I've always known that owning a school was a great passion of mine. So me and my now wife made the decision to move, and this is what I've learned since then. So a little bit more on the backstory. Jessica and I made the decision to move to New Jersey in October of 2016. I left my company not with any animosity, not because of an issue. I just felt that maybe it was just time. When making the decision to leave, it was a very hard choice. I was in that school and in that business for over 8 years. I worked for the same company since I was pretty much 10 years old. But I would like to think that I left on a positive note. I left on good terms with my employer and my instructor. Also, I think that I left on good terms with all the students, many of which I still have a great relationship to this day with. And I'm very excited to know that they're still training in martial arts with the instructor who took over. So leaving on a positive note was definitely a big need and a want of mine because, again, I didn't leave because I was unhappy necessarily. It was just, I felt that it was time for me to branch out and try something on my own. And I'm very thankful that my boss and the company was very supportive, and still to this day are very supportive of my decision. Now, when it comes to the school we moved again in December of 2016 at the very end of the year. We came up here for Thanksgiving in 2016, and we met with the former owner of the school, who was an instructor, which I've known for many years. I've actually flown here from, at that time, Atlanta to New Jersey to do a seminar for him when I was about 16. So I've always had a great relationship with the instructor. After talking to him for a couple hours and somehow convincing my now wife to move, we made the decision that we were going to buy it officially and move at the end of the year. And when we came up here, we only had 2 days to find a house. So we found a realtor and a house on Zillow. We looked around at like 10 different houses for that weekend. And luckily we were able to find a house, and we put in an offer immediately. So with the end of the year fast approaching and us getting ready to move at the end of the month, everything was in place for us to move except for one major thing. As we're on the drive up here, we realized we don't know where we're gonna stay. Our offer was accepted, but we never had a closing date. But we're driving to New Jersey at this point. So we finally get to New Jersey, we get the key to the school, we go right to the school. We start cleaning from top to bottom. As we're at the school that night cleaning, we start getting on the internet and looking up places for us to stay that night, looking up hotels that will accept dogs. We have 2 dogs with us. We also have a trailer hooked up with all of our stuff. And we're at this point where we're like, you know what? We're not gonna find a place. So we'll bust out the air mattress and we're sleeping inside the school. Of course, we were eventually able to move into our house, but that's the crazy story how we moved here. Not knowing where we were going, just driving with an idea, with the focus and a plan. Which brings me to my first point. In entrepreneurship and in life, we don't always have the luxury of ready, aim, fire. Sometimes it's just fire. Think about this in sports, right? You see someone driving to the lane in basketball, they get fouled, they just throw up a shot and it goes in. Entrepreneurship to me works the exact same way. Yes, you have an idea where you're going, you must have a plan, but things don't always go exactly the way you perceive them to go. But you have to be willing to just keep firing at all costs until something hits. That to me is entrepreneurship tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be education. Now, I'm not just talking about your traditional education, like going to college, but education that's going to help you build your brand or build your company. Another great form of education is surrounding yourself with people who can influence and empower you. Maybe people that are in your industry and even outside of it. People who are better at the areas in which you're not, so you can learn from them. So again, tip number 2, education, and that means whatever form of education is going to help you to grow. What are you talking about? Tip number 3 is that the customer is not always right. Unfortunately, your program, your company, your brand will not be a perfect fit for every single person. There are people out there who disagree with the way that I teach class. Shocking, I know, but I'm okay with it. Understand that my program will not change just to satisfy one unhappy person. We are focused on a much bigger picture, and just like you can't change your brand to fit one unsatisfied customer. Tip number 4 is to continue to invest back into your business. Now, I know I said the customers were not always right, but they should be happy, and they take notice of things. When you have a great month, it's not just about taking home a huge salary, but adding improvements to your business, or in our case, our school. When we walked in on day number 1, we had a vision of what we wanted the school to look like. We couldn't do it that day. We wanted to extend the mat. So eventually we wanted to paint. And we did all those things in time to show that we are continuing to invest back into the program to help make sure all the students stay happy. And of course, they should enjoy where they're training. Now, of course, every business is different, but one of the biggest investments you can make is, of course, hiring quality people. That means paying them what they deserve. Understanding that, yes, we all have needs, and hiring somebody just to fulfill those needs at that given time can kind of be a lose-lose situation, because maybe they're not providing the service in which your customers are used to. So hiring for quality versus necessity is a great way to invest back into your business. And finally, tip number 5 from what I've learned from owning a business for the last 2 years. Now, this one does come with a disclaimer. I'm not the best one at it, but I'm looking to get better every single day. I've learned this tip from people that are way more successful than I am, and that is, you are not your brand. You are not your company. You're a lot more than just that. So learn to separate yourself from it when it's time. When it's time to work with a passion, work with a goal in mind, and do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. But when it's time to be off and it's time to be away from your company, learn to enjoy it. You work so hard for what? Just to go back and work the next day? Yes, you should love what you're doing, but you should also love to be away from it. Then learning that your life is not just about your brand and your company. Get outside of it, get away from it, and enjoy what you're working towards. So that is it. Those are my top 5 tips from what I've learned from owning my business for the last 2 years. Hopefully you found this video enjoyable or educational. Like it, subscribe down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you guys later. Peace.